Welcome to a special episode of Running Your Best Life podcast. Today, I'm joined by the amazing Adele as we dive into the mindset it takes to commit to something bold and life changing, a
Mhm.
triathlon. Whether you are a seasoned runner curious about crossing over into triathlon or someone who always said, I could never swim in this episode for you.
That's me, y'all. That is still me.
Yes. So I titled this episode as Does Training for a triathlon really helped my running. And I believe so because I've witnessed it myself. I was training right after my first marathon when I started running. I wanted to qualify for the Boston Marathon.
Right, right.
And it took me 6 years, 17 marathons to finally qualify. But the biggest difference that made in my qualifying was when I started training for a triathlon
Mhm.
because I read the book uh, Run Less, Run Faster, where it was calling for cross training between swimming and running. And as I was doing that, I signed up for a triathlon. I went through a lot of fears of open water and everything that I went through that. But when I was training for it, I noticed I became faster in my running. And it was in the middle of training for a triathlon that I actually qualified for the Boston Marathon.
Mhm.
So today we're
Which
going to
is
talk about a little bit
fantastic.
of the benefits. I have a 5 day triathlon mindset challenge, a powerful and practical way to overcome fears, time limitations, or any kind of self doubt. This isn't just a fitness challenge, it's a mindset breakthrough. By the end of the 5 day challenge, you'll understand why triathlon training could be the best decision you make for your body, your mind, and your confidence. And let me start just by asking Adele, because Adele does all three sports, but she hasn't committed to a triathlon race. And today I was asking her what's your block? Why haven't you done since you're already doing that? So let me ask you again in front of our audience,
Okay.
what keeps you from signing up for a triathlon?
So there's a couple of things, and I've shared this. Y'all got to remember, Victor and I have already we've talked about this over the months, many, many times, because of his triathlon experience and my marathon, my competitive tennis, my cycling, and my swimming to supplement, my running and other things. So there's two things that I share with Victor. I'm not afraid to do it. So for me, it's not so much a fear factor, right? I
Right.
have not had the experience to swim in open water except once. Um, and so that would be something to address, which I think in coaching, that would be one of the top topics to address for me. I have had swim experience. I can go out and swim 2 miles in the lake in a lap pool 5 days a week if I want to, which I do 2 or 3 days a week. Freestyle and backstroke. I use fins because one of my issues is not feeling like I have enough propulsion from my leg strength, which I think is very low in the pool compared to how well I cycle and run. Victor is going to address something that he shared with me just a little bit ago, which I'm familiar with. Most triathletes are using more upper body mechanics and upper body strength to manipulate through the swim part of the triathlon. I
Yeah.
understand that. I have great upper body strength. I work on it very diligently. I still have this hesitation that I think my legs should be a little bit more involved. So those are the two things. I don't have a fear, but I would need open water experience and I would need to really understand the swim mechanics to get through the swim part of the race. Those are the two
Okay.
things for me.
Sounds good. And we'll get to it. Before we get to it, I want to go back and the benefits that you've noticed
Right,
from, right?
right.
We were talking earlier, and you agreed that there's tremendous benefit to cross training with swim and bike. that
Right.
transfer into the running.
So
Mm.
when I was running, if y'all remember, my very first marathon, I had turned 40, the month before. I was also on the tennis courts hours every week. I had two small children. The tennis was my number one competitive sport at the time. The running was supplementing, but I was also a very accomplished runner at the time. I'm 67. So what I found was, as my daughter became a swimmer at the age of 4, got onto the little summer swim teams, I started teaching myself to go just get in the pool and use swimming as a cross training opportunity. At the age of 40 and into my 40s, running that much, the biggest thing is saving the knees, saving the hips, and saving all the ankles and all the pressure on my feet. You got to remember, I was on hard courts, hours a week. So the swimming added to my abilities to not get injured, which is huge. Victor and I have shared that with y'all. The other part is it gave me a lot of recovery opportunities in the pool, right? If I had a marathon to run, I wasn't on my bike as much at that point as far as like I am now, but getting in that pool it became an adrenaline rush for me. I want to get in the water. I want my body to get in the water. One, it was a major recovery opportunity. And two, the no impact gave me tremendous amount of agility, flexibility, and endurance to get back on the road running without injuries. And my muscles felt so fresh, felt so ready again. Yeah, I get a swim day in there. I'm ready to hit for another 10 miles and pretty consistent and diligent intervals on those 10 miles. Because you got to remember, my body was in my 40s. I was on the tennis court as well. But those recovery days in the pool, or even pushing myself on an interval training day in the pool, made a huge difference on what I could do with the impact on the road. The benefits of that are huge,
Plus,
huge.
you've shared the benefits in like the long run and
Mm-hmm.
conserving your feet,
Right.
conserving your joints, and the strength training part of it, but also how you feel at the end of a
Mhm.
swim, the adrenaline, all of the how you feel awesome. It seems like after a swim. Now, how do you feel after a bike ride?
So when I started to incorporate the cycling, I could get my competitive urges met too. Once I started really understanding riding and cycling, so to speak, because I used, the small thin tires. It's a cycle bike. It's not a triathlon bike. So I want to make that very clear.
Well,
Where a lot
yeah,
of your seasoned triathletes are using a lot more um, fitted and technical equipment on their bikes, right? I've got my helmet, I've got my gloves, I've got the seat, I've got everything in position. I don't have aero bars because that's not what my bike came with when I got it. And I didn't add that in because I wasn't competing in that aerodynamic position that I didn't need to learn that, which is something I will incorporate if I choose to do a triathlon because I know that's a very important part of the cycle depending on how long the distance is. When I would get off my bike, yeah, I'd push and I'm going. But again, no impact. And yet my heart felt amazing because of pushing it, just like in a long run. The one thing that I noticed that I had to really adapt to, Victor, and I know that you can address this, is the position on the bike. Let me, looking, the neck is looking up, got a helmet on. I'm here, so I'm trying to navigate that neck position as I'm in a low shoulder
yeah.
position, right? A bent position. So I had to really learn how to relax the neck area and the shoulder area, knowing that they would be fatigued and a little bit sore when I got off 30-mile cycles, 35-mile cycles, or 20 or 25, if I'm pushing on speed and intervals, right? For maybe those second 10 miles. So I had to learn how that could relax my body, but my legs felt great, my hips felt great. I pushed them, but again, no impact saved me for when my next running day would be, right? And
Yeah.
usually after a long run, walk day, and a long cycle day, I'm going to be in the pool. And that's going to be a great kind of more of a conscientious recovery day. Again, saving the hips, saving the knees, saving the ankles, saving obviously the upper body. Swimming made me stronger to get into those positions and build the strength that I needed for cycling. So all of it together saves on those impact days that I didn't used to save
Mhm.
before. Makes a
So
big
tell me,
difference.
what do you enjoy the most about the bike?
Oh my gosh. Um, I want to. It's peace and serenity came into my mind immediately because where I ride, and I'll share this with everybody. Y'all know I'm in South Louisiana, so we have a trace, what we call our St. Tammany Trace. They have the Longleaf Trace in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which is a 42-mile distance. You're on an asphalt trace, but you're also under the trees. My trace in St. Tammany, I love it. The rangers maintain it. The ditches along the side, the tree limbs, any kind of major storm that comes through, they're in there cleaning it so for run, walk, bike. Um, I don't like riding in the open streets because where I can ride on my trace, I'm controlled. So let's put the peace and serenity factor in there, which obviously affects how I'm going to ride. Um, I love the feel of the bike. I love the feel of I'm going to get started 3 or 4 miles, a nice, easy setup. I just love it. I've got my bottles, I've got my nutrition, I've got a little pack with my little gummies that I need for nutrition as well as what's in my drink bottles. I love the feel of how I can push myself without the body being jolted so much like I've always run for all these years. I love it. When I'm ready to push and get that adrenaline urge and really want to just challenge myself, I, you just go for it. But it's also a mindset too. I have a 5 minute interval on my phone. So every 5 minutes on that pacer program that I use is going to tell me 20 minutes, 6 miles, right? So, or whatever. So I can gauge how fast I'm riding that particular 5 minutes. So that interval of 5 minutes is going to challenge me. Am I riding a 5 minute mile or am I riding a 4 minute mile? Do I want to ride a mile and a half in that 5 minutes? How fast do I want to go on that particular interval? So, depending on what my goal is for the day, is it a good, easy 30-mile ride at 15 miles an hour? Or am I going to ride 10 or 15 miles out and then push that 18, 19 miles from most of those miles back? And how am I going to accomplish that? Where will be my rest miles? Where will be my nutrition miles? Where's my potty break? That way I, do a little stretching, that kind of thing. I love the opportunity to relax, but I also love the challenge that I can push myself and be competitive on that bike. Without the impact affecting fatigue and muscles on my body. So it's great. I love that. It's my
That is
best.
awesome. It is very noticeable the passion that you have for
Uh,
your swim, how you enjoy the swim, the passion you have for the bike, and we know the passion for your run
yeah.
because you are the runner. So now I want you to imagine what it would feel like since you haven't done a triathlon, putting all those three together. Like you feel great coming out of the water, you feel amazing getting on the bike because you enjoy the bike ride, and then you put icing on the cake by doing a run at the end of those three.
Which I've done.
Now, yeah, you can probably imagine having all of those three together because you've got the serenity, you've got the competitiveness of the race, you have the adrenaline, you have the passion for all three, and it is an amazing feeling. And that's kind of what the message that I want to convey to our audience and anybody who's ever thought, oh, don't, I'm not ready for a triathlon because they don't allow fins.
Right. I love it. But I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. Learning what I've learned from Victor, and this is a great concept, y'all. Learning what I've learned from Victor. We've talked to Ethan, we've talked to Crystal, we've talked to Sam, we've talked to a lot of these people who didn't have one of these events in their repertoire, right? I've been fortunate enough to incorporate the swimming because of my daughter and taking her swimming. I'd go swim in the other pool and use that as my training, right? My recovery or my training for the day. If she was swimming for an hour and a half, I would build that in. Or a day I was running, or a day I'd have my bike while she was supervising the pool when she was young. So the key is that regardless of having those already in my fitness base, to understand that I can release those fins and use my upper body to be successful in a triathlon swim, because I want to save my legs to push on my bike and enjoy my run when I get there. Now, what I told Victor prior to us getting on and recording is, I'm going to be 70 in 2.5 years. Do I want to incorporate what we call a sprint triathlon, which a lot of my friends do? The Olympic triathlon is probably more of a distance that I can definitely do right now. The sprint is a lot shorter, but I'm an endurance based athlete. So a sprint for me is not going to be as satisfying. Yes, successful to finish and accomplish all three events would be a great place to start in what would be a short swim, a short cycle, a short run. But to remember that I'm putting them all three at the same time. So the sprint would be where I'd start. The challenge would be the Olympic distance. I don't know what the half Ironman and Ironman has in my future. I don't think I do have that in my future right now, to be in the reality of it, to be very, very transparent for 70.3 or 140. The deal would be starting where I knew I could focus, set both my mind and my body. Let's go with a sprint. Get it all excited, just like somebody runs a 2 mile race with their family. I want to do 5K. All of a sudden, that person's transitioning into a 10K and a half marathon and a marathon distance. It's starting where your mind can bring you, the body's capable of doing it, and know that's a little bit more for the next challenge. And I
Yes.
really think that that would be the great way to start for me. And I'm not going to say never, because I don't say never.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
I
and they do
am.
a lot of these little sprint events too, so that would be a lot of fun to investigate.
And the only thing I want to convince you, Adele, and my audience is to attend the 5 day challenge
Yes,
and
yes,
see some of the stuff that we can do about any kind of doubts, any kind of fears, or any kind of obstacles that you are, or any myths that somebody has and
right,
that's keeping them from signing up for a triathlon.
right.
Mm,
Well, I'm going to respond to that really quickly because I know Victor wants to get to a couple other points. Why I would want to do it now is going to be one of the things that Victor is going to address in the challenge. And if you just listen to what my comments were, I'm going to be 70. That's part of my why. When I was 40, part of my why coming out of 10 years of cancer was to run my first marathon. I'm alive. I'm going to do it. There's always going to be a reason. My family, they've done things because I've done them. They That's my why. Let's show them what we can do, the longevity factor, all that. So, y'all, these are going to be addressed in the mindset challenge. Make sure you go on to, which Victory's going to share on how to become involved in it. I'm going to get involved in it myself. It's going to be a lot of fun for me. And that little sprint triathlon may be something I'm investigating on a registration date to do sometime soon. So let's do it.
absolutely. And the way they sign up is on my webpage. If they go to eymcoaching.com, you
Mhm.
go on top of the page and it has the 5 day challenge. They just click on that and it gets them to the challenge.
Yes.
The next thing I want to say is that your why could be as simple as you're going to get out of your comfort zone,
Hmm.
and it's going to be worth it, because sometimes that's all it is. It's like they're comfortable maybe in the pool, but I wouldn't be comfortable in open water. So that's a good reason. Let's do this.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Do you have access to open water, Adele?
Yeah, I do. I actually do, because there's a lot of triathlon training teams around me down here in the South. So a lot of times they swim, and I know this is going to sound funny, but they swim Lake Pontchartrain, which of course 20 years ago caused Katrina, overflow caused Katrina. But there's certain pockets in around Lake Pontchartrain that they do hold the triathlon race swim portion of triathlons in the Bay St. Louis area, which is about 30 miles away in Mississippi. They swim Bay St. Louis. A lot of the triathlon training programs will swim Bay St. Louis. I don't know the exact distance from one end to the other, but yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to do some open water swimming. And a lot of my friends that do the triathlon training programs will do that. So I would be, piggyback on with them, who are very good friends of mine that cycle and swim with me. Cycle and swim with me when we train in the pool, and then they're on a lot of the runs and the run walks with me as well. So I have access to all of that down south. But I really believe that the program I would follow would be the one that you use, from the beginning to get ready, not necessarily for an Ironman, but for the shorter distance as you incorporated in. And I think you use the Training Peaks and a couple other really cool training programs. So that would be where I would go to follow a specific training plan.
Yes, absolutely. Now, would you say that for you to get in the open water would be getting out of your comfort zone, or it's
Yes.
just yeah,
Oh, yeah. I don't
okay,
even have to have you finish that question. Yes, that would be the biggest get out of my comfort zone part of the training. Yeah.
okay, good, good. See, that's exactly what I wanted. It's certain things that we sometimes don't understand why, and sometimes until we do them, we either find out the
Hmm.
things that we're scared of. Like there's something that tells us, "Oh, I don't want to do it," blah blah blah, and then either discover that it's not true, or we discover yes, this is definitely a fear. For example, me, once I started getting more comfortable with open water, what I hadn't done is going to cold water swimming,
Ah,
and I didn't know that my body was going to react the way it did. It's just like and just panic, yes, panic, and I thought I could talk myself out to relaxation and relax, but every time my face would hit that cold water, it happened the same thing. And I tried to, now you try to incorporate swimming and breathing. It just wasn't. It was a long swim. Let's just put it that way.
yeah,
But I learned that I needed to do a little something more therapeutic to so that I don't panic in cold water. And that's some of that is just getting in there and doing the relaxation exercises in the cold water.
right. Like
To
the
calm
breathing
myself
and
down.
kind of the mindset stuff that you will
Yeah,
probably, right,
yeah,
right.
because I knew I wasn't gonna die, but my brain says you are gonna die.
But our brains have done that too. As when we first took our first step in a distance race, right? I
Right.
can't do this. I'm gonna die. I can't make it back to my house. I can't get to the first portalet. I can't get to the first water station. And look where we are now, right? Y'all got to understand that that's getting out of your comfort zone. There's a reason you're doing it. That's your why. And once you take that first step and you make the second step and you hit the third step, you're getting closer and closer to achieving the reason you're doing it, right? So, yeah. I will tell you this. I will tell you this, and I want to ask Victor this question. With the open water swimming, obviously in different areas of the country, wetsuits are legal in most of your triathlon slash Ironman distance competitions. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I haven't come up with a race anywhere near me that they said it's not wetsuit legal. I think they
Okay.
have more towards South, even
Right.
South
Yeah.
and other countries, or Florida, or maybe
Louisiana,
Louisiana, maybe Louisiana as
the
well.
Gulf Coast.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you, the funny thing about it is, when you go on these beach trips with your family and you're in the water for hours, you don't realize how much endurance and strength that builds up when you're playing with the kids, or you're on boogie boards, or you're on rafts, or you're just swimming, out there. That would be my one true experience with open water, any kind of, not necessarily swimming, but when you compete with, "Oh, I'm going to race you to that other wave." Yeah, well, the waves are coming at you, right? But the beauty of that is not being afraid of the water, and I've never been afraid of the water. So I've been in these beach open water experiences as playtime and recreational time with family and children, and so that's not something that I would have to deal with. I'm not afraid to just step in and then just start learning how to swim in that particular type of environment, where other people may have that lack of experience, and be a little bit fearful. So y'all remember that when you look at this program that Victor is going to be setting up, and I think it starts in a couple of weeks. You want to make sure that you understand where you are and what your experiences have been too, and where is your why, and what are you willing to do to come out of that that comfort zone and take that step. If you've got some experience just playing on the beach, you're not afraid of that type of water. So remember that that's in your wheel, in your past experience as well. Use that to your advantage. Understand that and put that in your mindset. Oh, I've been in the water so many times over the summers, time and time again. I'm not afraid of the waves. I'm not afraid of the currents. I can learn how to do that with the right experience and the right coaching. So put that all together and look at the program that Victor's offering for y'all. It's going to be great because I'm going to definitely use that to my advantage too. It will definitely work.
Absolutely. And besides the going through clarity on your why, we're going to cover fit training into your busy life, like what schedules, myths, or being able to organize your time to schedule training for a triathlon, which all depends on the distance that you're doing. We're also going to cover any fears, such as the fear of open water, any other fears that you might have on the bike, or fears of injuries, anything like that. We'll cover that on the mindset challenge. Also, how to develop the resilience necessary to complete a triathlon. And for most of my audience, especially the ones that are part of my running group or that are signed up for my newsletter, they are runners. And so they understand resilience and just transferring now to another sport of triathlon. And
Right.
finally, we'll cover uh, assessing how ready you are for a triathlon. And that's just going to be being able to score yourself on what level. And we'll have a bunch of questions that you can answer, give yourself points, and we'll assess how ready you are for the for a triathlon training.
And I think one of the fun parts of that's going to be having your equipment, having everything in order and in packaging in the way to do it. And if you heard Victor speak over the months we've been recording, I forgot my chip. I went to the wrong start line. I didn't have everything I needed. I didn't know how
Yeah.
to get where I was going. So a lot of that's experience that Victor specifically will share in his triathlon and marathon experiences as well. And I'm pretty much of a pack rat. I usually have too much stuff. So that's another thing to address as well. But y'all remember that we'll go over all that. And those will be some fun points in that final part of the assessment that Victor's going to be presenting to y'all. So
Yeah.
please take
Because it's
advantage of
not as much. Some people may think they need more than they need. Like you don't need a triathlon bike to do the shorter distance, although it has some advantages, but you definitely don't need it. There's a
it.
lot of people who use a road bike. I've seen people in a regular mountain bike, and they
Right,
have mountain bike triathlons, by the way, as well.
right.
So, yeah, we'll cover all that. Like things that might have stopped you, you'll realize that they don't necessarily need to stop you. You can do it.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's going to be a lot of fun, y'all. I think Victor's got wants to give you the information. The website is the
Yes,
EYM
the website is
Adventure.
eymcoaching.com. Just go to the top and click on the 5 day challenge, and you'll be in. I'll have you where to register. I also have a recording there that I did with Sabine that covers
Right.
she did an amazing therapy on getting me as an example of getting over the fear of open water, and did a cool exercise on how to relax. So you can check that out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I really encourage you to come check it out. It's on July 21st, and I haven't got the time exactly that we're going to do it. It will be on Facebook, but everything is the way to register is on that website and on the landing
Okay,
page.
perfect. Perfect. Well, y'all take advantage of it. And I know Victor and I will probably get a few things to y'all in the next couple of weeks prior to the beginning of that. So if I have any suggestions at all, if you're interested in the Mindset Challenge and you have some suggestions on things you'd like to see addressed in a future podcast or during the challenge, that when you sign up, you'll see the topics. Let us know in any kind of show notes or messages to myself, or especially to Victor, because he's got his notes ready for the challenge. Let us know because then Victor can start to incorporate some of that, and if it's something that I can help him address, I will do so. So make sure you go to that, take a look at it. I think it's a free registration. Am I correct on that,
It's
or is it?
free, yes, and the whole
Yeah.
thing is free. I'm going to be able to sell the recordings for somebody who says, okay, I don't have time to do. And again, I'm going to clarify something. It won't be more than 10 to 15 minutes long for each day. So you don't have
Okay.
to dedicate a lot of time. It's going to be 5 days, very minimal time each day, and it'll accomplish what its purpose. But if you
Okay.
don't have those times to attend live, you can purchase the recordings, which will be with you forever.
Right.
And for a minimal price, I think it's going to be like 19.95 or something like that.
Yeah. And all that'll be on there. Eventually, Victor will have all that information for y'all. So go to it, and I will definitely see y'all on that challenge. Now, I will say something to you, just so y'all know, I do have a new grandchild. She was born yesterday, and I have some new time commitments that I'm anticipating. And I will definitely be working with Victor on some of those. If it's during the challenge time and I'm not on a live recording, you know I will be on something either before or after that I can assist him in, and definitely going to be a part of all of that with y'all. So I'm looking forward to it, my friend. I can't wait to see you again. You know that.
And I always put the contact for Adele at the bottom. You can get her email,
Yep.
contact her for any questions or any help, support that you need.
Right.
Don't hesitate to contact us. We're here to help out.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, Adele, for being here.
It's a
Thank
pleasure, my friend. I'm so glad I
you.
saw you today. And for all of our viewers, enjoy this summertime. Stay on your training plan, but just remember to be aware of what your environmental issues are. Lots of rain, lots of heat, lots of humidity. You really want to be careful to get through the summer. So if you are planning to sign up for a triathlon, sign up for any kind of race, a swim, a bike, a run, any kind of competition, pickleball, tennis, whatever you're going to do with your families, please be aware of the elements and take care of yourselves, because we want to see you each week on what we're offering you to do to learn how to be successful in your fitness and triathlon and running training, but also in your life, and how this affects your lifestyle for longevity. So stay with us every week. We love y'all. Victor, my friend, I'll see you next
Thank
time.
you. See you next time. Till next
Bye,
week. All
y'all.
right. Take
Have a
care.
great day now. Bye bye.